Hey guys, welcome to the stream for today. It's day 49 of the devlog, and today we are going to light some arrows. Okay, so we're going to have to look at our fire, and I do believe we have a variable in here called active. As you can see, and the next thing we're going to do is bump up this fuel to, let's say, 300, and that's going to give us a good bit over 5 minutes to actually slot or light our arrow. And the next thing we're going to do is we're going to check our arrow. We're going to need our arrow open at this point, right? And the next thing we're going to need is our pawn. Okay, and we're going to remove that for now. And we're going to go over here and we are setting our bow state. Okay, so basically we are going to go to our fire, right, and we are going to look at our use case for this, right? Now the interesting thing here we're going to be looking at event use item. Okay, so first thing we need in here is a variable to say is lit. Okay, and that's going to start off as not lit. Okay, now what we're going to do is this is our BP fire use item. It's not actually what we want. Right, so I'm going to show you how I'm going to build this up. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to break this down into small chunks of logic here. Okay, now you'll see that it comes up with the normal interact if we do not have the stuff. But we don't actually want to do this. We want to get the ref char and say player mode. Okay, maybe we don't. Current mode. Okay. Get current mode. And we want to say equals normal. We branch and this is going to go to the other side. This can go to here. This can go to here. Okay. If it's false, we're not going to do anything, right? For the moment, just to show you the effect. Right, and that's fine. We can leave that as is. So, if we press play and we click here, get up, okay, that works fine. But if we click the button and we're now in hunting mode, you'll notice it does nothing. You okay? Which is what we want. Now, what we need now is if we're going to have to get bow state. Okay, now in this case we're going to have to get the bow, and then we're going to have to see the state. We're going to have to get bow state. Is it current state? I don't think so. And then equip notched aiming. Okay, so in actual fact, we want a switch. Okay. And these two, we're going to do something. The equipped we're not, because we don't have an arrow. Okay. So we're not going to give the person a choice at this point. We are basically just going to activate the fire, basically. So we need, sorry, the arrow. Okay. So okay, so we are not actually getting an arrow here. So we need to find out if we're actually generating an arrow. We're creating a bow here. And we are not actually creating right, so we need to look at the bow then. And I believe it's new bow. And there we have the arrow and the arrow mesh. Right, and here we are going to attach a particle system. Okay, and I've got no idea which one to go for here. Right, so let's have a look at some of these. No. Possible, but probably not. That's probably going to be more like it. Actually, you know what? Let's have a look at that for a second. If we could spawn that in the right place, or just spawn one of these along the arrow, that actually might work. Yeah, Screen Apple, did you get your thing sorted last night? Did I fix the problem for you? I like that. And it might work. At this point, it doesn't actually really matter which one we go for. Right, so that's supposed to be like in the distance. And I'm just going to have to go with one here and then we can amend it as necessary. Probably likes of this. High fire, big fire B. Ground based fire. Okay, so that's right. We're going to go with big fire B. Okay, that is my final assessment of the situation. So we're going to close all these down, and we very well might export this. Favorite TV show, and what's your favorite TV show? And I'm afraid to ask at this point. Right, I'll tell you what I'm going to do, right? I'm going to convert it to a Niagara system. Just wait on this compiling. There shouldn't be a problem. Cylinder location. In fact, we probably don't even want a cylinder location. Compile then. Okay, whatever. Right, so the thing is here that we're actually not going to have a cylinder location. So this is kind of what we want, except we're not going to want that. Right, we're going to have a 0 there, 0 there. I believe right. It's a sprite alignment. Okay, that's up, so that's probably okay. That's probably okay. Velocity. Right, so my question is at this point, why on earth does it appear Okay, I'm guessing it's this thing here. Right, so this is kinda what we want. Kinda. Right, dismiss that. Eight. We can mess about with this later. Right. Now, I don't know. Let's see what that does. Nothing. Right, that's lifetime. If we switch off the velocity. Hi Storm Run Gaming, how you doing, bud? Okay, so let's forget that for now. I wasn't intending on doing a Niagara system, so we're going to delete that for now. Okay, we'll just use this one, which I think we decided on this. Okay. And this obviously looks absolutely ridiculous. But I think what we'll do is we'll build our own one of this, but it gives us an idea anyway, right? That's the point. So basically we are going to deactivate it. Okay. And when, well, I've got to actually do this. I've got to get the bowl, and I've got to get the fire, and I've got to say activate. Okay. I'm going to save that. Now, the interesting thing is the arrow is going, this is going to have to be exposed on spawn, right? Because we're going to have to check to see whether we've actually lit the arrow. Storm, you can do a setting in the projectile where you can set it to homing. It's just a click of a button basically. A checkbox. Right, so anyway, where was I? Oh yeah. Right, so as we gradually build this up, right? So if we walk up normally, we get that. If we have our bow but no arrow, we get nothing, which is right. If we get notched, we get our fire. Okay? You've still not told us what your favourite show is. Right, so that's working in effect. Right, but we do need, well, we do need it to work a bit better basically. So what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to create a particle system so that I'm never happy. Right, so we're going to do hunting, then FX, Niagara emitter, and we've got, right, wait a minute, next. That doesn't sound good. Let's go for that, eh? Let's go for an empty one and see if we can do it. Any underscore arrow fire. Okay, and then what we're going to do is create a Niagara system out of that. Okay. So our sprite render is, we can do our, was it, must have been this one, right? Big fire B. right? And from here, right, okay, whatever. We need to know what sprite sheet this is using, right? If anybody can remember, sub UV movie, okay. 30. I'm going to go for that as okay, whatever. So what sprites is this using is the question. Why is it floating in there? Because that's what I wanted it to do. Because it's got no physics on it. It was just a test. It was just a test for to pick up a log and use it as fuel to light a fire. Yes, I still use Unreal Engine 4. I can't remember now how you find out what texture this is using. Now, I'm guessing it's Big Fire B. Okay. So we're going to go back in here. And okay. Right, and I'm forgetting how to do everything here. It's that's it there. Create material. Use that. Sub UV size. If we check this, it is 4, 5, 8 by 8, right? So 8, 8, blending enabled. Not to 63, that's right. Particle spawn. Emitter spawn. Spawn rate. say 5. Particle update. Ah, right, wait a minute. I'll do box location. Don't worry about it, Storm. You wouldn't notice, you honestly wouldn't notice a difference, right? There isn't that much of a difference between the two. Because basically 5 is based on 4.27 as 4 was based on 4.26, which was based on 4.25. Right, so I basically wouldn't worry about it. And I'm making... This is the problem, and you guys will come to this conclusion as well, right? That there's so much in this, right? There's so much in Unreal Engine, like there's the materials, there's the particles, there's the sound, there's all the rest of it, and it's very, very difficult to remember everything about everything. Right? So this is kind of what we want, right? Any arrow fire. I mean, most of the tutorials I've done have been in 5. And yeah, it can absolutely cripple your system. Right? So, I believe we do that. We do that, that, and that. Then once this compiles, we should be fine. That's what I'm doing. Minimum 0, maximum 10, and there we go. Then we need UV animation. We don't want gravity. And we probably don't want drag either. And our sphere location, we're going to bring that down to 1 for a laugh. And see what we get. And we're probably not going to scale the colour either. Let's see what we get out of that. I should have had a play about with the... Right. So you can see there that our... This... it should work, because that's got the transparency on it. Right, okay, whatever. The only way you can kill the infected is with burning arrows. Right. Right, the particle spawn rate is a bit mental. Alright. Initialize particle. Okay, we're going to go with that and we'll say 4 seconds. Okay, so what killed us? Well, it was updating this, wasn't it? But I'm not convinced. So what I'm going to do is we're going to go back to our bowl, right? And we're going to go back to here and we're going to add a component. It's going to be Niagara, right? Now I wonder any... Right, you can see there that that doesn't... Oh yeah, it does, look. Pretty cool. Right? Now, I need these sprites all to be going in the same direction. Right? And we're not going to add velocity in a cone. So we can switch that off. And now if we go back to our new bow, right now the thing is that it's doing it in a circle, right? Question is, right, so we don't want this in a circle, okay? We want this in a box. Hi Deadshot, how are you? Hope you are well. We're not going to have that. We're going to have it in a box. Right, now what we want to do here is come on, getting impatient now. What we want to do is we want to look at our thingy, Niagara system, make changes to it, and then see what effect that has on our bow. Okay, and it's sometimes easier to kind of spawn a whole load of stuff, right? So what I'm going to do is we're going to spawn lots, right? So that we get a better visualization of what we're actually doing here, right? That's the idea, right? So basically we're spawning in a box, right? But we don't want the box to be so Z is going to be 0, right? So they should all be on the same plane. Okay. Our next point is going to be Y is also going to be 0. But Y might be bigger than 0, right? But there you go, right? So we've basically got this. So if we would do that as 50, okay, we get that, and we'll gradually pull it down Okay, good. 10. Let's try 5. 5 is good. Then we could offset it a bit by basically dragging our Niagara system back, but we'll leave it at that for now, right? Then what we'll do is we'll pull down our spawn rate again. Yes, I do, Black Panda. You'll find it in the description. Or darn it, there's the Steam page. Da, 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 da. Okay, so yes, I do have a game on Steam. That's normally a gotcha question, you know. Right, so we want to change our spawn rate back down to something a bit more sensible on this. And what we need to do, the last thing we need to do is the orientation, right? The orientation of our sprites should always be up, okay? So, oh, align a mesh to a vector, align sprite. That's not really what I want. Sprite facing and alignment. I'm going to go for, oh wait a minute, we'll put that back, right, to what it was, and we'll go for sprite alignment to 1 on that. Right? Not a lot is the answer. Right, so that's not doing the alignment, but we're now going to have a break. So if you're enjoying the video, the content, hit like and subscribe. I'll be back in a couple of minutes. It's normally about 5, right? I've timed it now. I used to think I took 2 minutes, but I actually take about 5. Right, I'm going to grab myself a quick coffee, so check out the description for links to the game Discord, my personal Discord, my Patreon, and my previous game on Steam. I'll be back in 2 minutes, guys. Don't go anywhere. Okay guys, we're back. Right, the problem with the Steam story, or the issue with Steam, is that if you get lucky, it can go very well for you. Okay? Now, I'm just wondering here, if I remove this box location, right? Now, a fairly big YouTuber actually said he was going to review my game. He does game reviews, right? And he said he was going to review it, but he never did. So, basically, if you don't get somebody, a random person just playing your game that's got a few viewers on YouTube or whatever, then you've no chance because you can't get any traction, right? It's the same as basically YouTube, right? The more viewers you get, then the more viewers you get because more people watch your channel because other people are watching your channel. It's pretty much as simple as that, really. So yeah, there's that. That's basically it. Sprite rotation on set. This is the thing we want. Yeah, it's a mixture of things, right? You need people to buy the game, right? Obviously, right? Because that affects the algorithm, Steam algorithm. And more importantly, you need them to buy the game and then you need them to review the game, right? Simple as that. So, if we look at this side view, well, actually from the left, this is where our big fiery thing is not really helping us. But there, you can see that that's actually pretty good. Right? Now, we could make this bigger. Right? Let's make this 3.5. How would I open an example project? What do you mean? Right, we need to slow this down a bit. Right, so that's cool. Okay, we like that. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to delete this fire, and I'm going to have this. Right? And then what we're going to do is we're going to do our spawn size, and we're going to make it 10 to 20. Okay. Well, it depends what the example project is, right? If it's just like the default, then all you need to do is create a default project, like a default FPS or a default third person or whatever it is. Right, there we go. Save that. Save that. We shall join this back onto here. Yeah, so if he's just migrating something from a, like if I was using this as an example project, right, and I wanted to migrate a material, you've got to watch though, because a lot of the time it tries to migrate everything, right? But if I was to do like migrate this, all you do is go to asset actions and then say migrate, right, and then it will bring up all the things that are related to that. Right, now I don't know why it's trying to, well, it's trying to save, right? So I'll save all just now, right? So if I tried to migrate this, now you can only migrate up the way, you can't migrate down the way. So you can't migrate something in 5.1 to 4.27, okay? But you can do it 4.7 to 5.1 normally. Now I'm not saying it's going to work in every single for every single asset, but you'll see here that it's basically just doing this temper, and it's going to create these folders, right, as well. So you'll end up with like all of these folders and then one thing at the end of it, depending on what you're migrating, of course, right? But now, well, now our pawn is going to be wrong because we're not activating right. Wait a minute. Ah, right, okay. So it was the fire, right? And this is on the bow, right? So we're going to rename this to NE. They sell something in a shop. is the answer to that. Or they're not in it to make money. If they're just doing it for a laugh, you can release it for free and then it's not going to cost anybody anything. Except for the fact that you've got to pay $100 to Steam to put your game up anyway. So it would actually cost you $100 to put up a free game if you just wanted it to be free to everybody. Right? But if you want to make money on a free game, then just think Fortnite. Fortnite's a free game. Right? They have a shop where you can buy stuff. So it's microtransactions. Another way would be to get sponsorship. Right? Or another way you could do it is with advertising in your game. Right? So there's lots of ways to do it. It just depends on what do you mean by make it free. Do you make it like a free to play or a totally free game? That's the difference. Right? So it was in here. This won't actually... wait a minute. We need to go to our new bow, and this is not auto activate. Right, save that. And then we go to our fire. And this isn't the final code, this is just testing code, by the way. Any what? Any fire. Bow is new bow. Well, there you go. Don't know why that was doing that. Activate. Right. So there we go, we made a particle system in the end. Right? Looks pretty good. Okay, the only problem here is we don't want this to move. No. Unless you make over $100,000 a year. So it only becomes a problem if you're making $100,000. Now the thing is here, I don't want these particles to move. I want them locked. I want them locked to the arrow. Right. I'm going to do a quick Google search on this. Right. I want to turn that off, I think. Right, this is becoming a bit weird. Right, I don't want these affected by do I actually want that? I don't think I want that. Okay. Right. Now, the point here is, right, what if I was going to frig this a bit, right, what I would do is I would turn this up, right, and then I would basically change the lifetime of the particles from 0.1 to like 0.2, right? And what that would do was basically kill them quicker than you could move. Right, now I'm going to look for a better answer than that, but this should work to a degree, I believe. Right, you'll see that, you know, it kind of works. And if we did it even more, we could just say lifetime 0.1, right? And then if we turn the spawn rate down a bit, because I think 100's too much. Okay. It's not ideal. The best idea is to make sure that it don't actually move, right? So I'll need to figure out the best way to do that. And it looks to me now that this is too high. So we'll drop it down to there. Even then, if we drop this down to 25, I mean, it's given us a reasonable effect. I don't know why I'm worrying about this too much. The point is to actually get the logic working here. But anyway, right? So, yeah. Yeah, that doesn't look so good, does it? It does not. Right, so if we go back to our new bow, or sorry, if we go to our fire, right, we have to check if this is active or not. Hang on a second, guys. Okay, dog was going a bit bananas because there was somebody at the door. Right, so we need in our bow, because the bow isn't the arrow, right, and we actually spawn an arrow for arrow cam, we're going to need a variable in here. Okay, so variables. Okay, Screen Apple, sorry, and Stormrun, sorry, I've missed your chats there because I was basically looking at something else. Right, which is your favourite game work, FTD or Groenland? Well, FTD was a different kettle of fish because I basically, what's the word when you're what is it? Crunched. It basically I crunched FTD in 4 months, right? So from the first day I started on it till the day it was released on Steam was 4 months. Hi, Cassadell Gaming. Right, but I would say it's always. I'm just getting a drink of my coffee, by the way. I would say it's easier, or it's better to work on things as you gain experience. So each new project is more kind of rewarding because you can do more things. Right? Well, right, floating wood isn't going to burn, right? Because I'm not creating fire, I'm creating a particle system. Right, now you'd have to code it up so that you could have, we actually have got the ability to do this, right, but it usually ends up looking like crap. So we're going to create a bool called arrow is lit, right? And if we do that, we are going to set it to lit, right? And that means that when we do this, that we can pass this to the arrow cam. Okay. So anyway, that's what we're going to do there. And our next thing we're going to do right, so now we've basically done the logic, right? So if the fire isn't lit, nothing's going to happen, right? So we basically have to put away our stuff, right? We need fuel. So this shows you a gameplay loop here, right? So we can't light our arrows to kill the infected, right? Until we get our log and we start a fire. Right, so we need to light the fire. Right, so now what we can do is light our fire, light our arrow. Okay. And now, did I delete all the bad guys? I think I did. Right, I need to have a look to see if I've deleted all the bad guys. Yeah, I deleted all the bad guys. Right, anyway. What we're going to do is work on the bad guys now. But well, we're actually going to work on the bad guys, and we're going to have to work on the bad guys, and we're going to have to tell it that an arrow is lit. Okay, so let's go to here. This is firing the arrow. Okay. So we're getting the bow. We'll refresh the nodes here. And we've got is lit. Right? So we get the bow and we say arrow is lit, which doesn't seem to be in our list. Any fire. This is the bow. Where on earth did I put that variable? I put it in BP bow, didn't I? No, I didn't. Right, we want to close that down because we're not using it, right? So it's in fire. Right, this shouldn't have that. Right, that's a load of rubbish. Don't know why I even thought about that for a second, right? But we want in our bow a variable arrow is lit. Save that. Instance editable. Expose on spawn. Go. Right. Then back to our pawn. Right. Then we're going to grab our bow again. And then we're going to say arrow is lit. Okay. So now when the arrow hits, if it hits a bad guy, we can find out if the arrow is a light, and if it is, then it will kill it. Well, we've got... What's going to happen is, or at least the plan is, that if you hit it with a arrow, right, it's basically gonna do nothing, right? But if you hit it with a lit arrow, the infected is going to basically catch fire and explode. Okay, that is the plan. So, we're going to now have to work this. Nah, that's not true, La Casa del Gaming. If you found out how old I am, you would soon change your mind on that one. Right, so we're going to move these into a better position. These are basically setting up our arrow position and our sort of starting off camera position for our arrow cam. Okay. So we've got a has been shot. Way past 40. Keep going, mate. Keep going. We might actually want to change this interface from BPI wildlife to BP like hit arrow interface, right? Because it doesn't just affect our right, I'll tell you what. Yes, I'm way old. That's why I don't put it on the camera, because it's like Gandalf. If I let my facial hair grow, right? Because I've no hair on the top of my head basically. But if I let my facial hair grow, I look like Gandalf. It just comes in all white. I've got a white beard. I'm guessing that might be a selling point, Gandalf the game dev. But it doesn't. My beard doesn't grow fast enough to do that either, I'm afraid, and it annoys the crap out of me. I've been playing games since before you guys were born. And for those, well, you guys, well, no, you guys wouldn't have been around anyway, but the first computer I programmed on was an Apple IIe. Sorry, an Apple II. And a BBC Micro. I'm probably one of the only people still alive that did some COBOL programming. And to give you an idea, we actually we didn't have a computer that could run COBOL, right? That was in a university 26 miles away. So we had to literally write our code on paper. Oh, way before QBasic. I'm talking when COBOL was still a thing, right? And we had to write it down, we had to write the code down, send it away, and we would get it back the next week with the results. So if you made a syntax mistake, basically you didn't find out for a week. Awesome. Right, so anyway, the point being here that you guys are sidetracking me, which I don't really mind, but we really want this arrow as an arrow interface. We can just basically rename this, right? The only problem here is the fact that, well, we can check the interface first, right? Set animal state, right, we need a new one. Even though these interfaces are pretty much not used anymore, right? Apart from probably the set animal animation state. Yeah, it's bollocks. Not to worry. Right, so we can't really use that, but that's okay. That's okay. We should have had two separate interfaces for this, to be fair, right? So what we should really do is go to our main BPS, right? In fact, we'll go to our hunting one, because that makes more sense to put it in alongside all the hunting stuff, because basically we're creating hunting stuff, right? So basically what we'll do is create an interface, and we'll call it BPI underscore hunting. Okay. And we'll call this been hit. I remember Visual Fox, bro. Don't think I ever used it. I've messed about with a lot of languages, put it that way. Yes, no. No, it doesn't. But it will. If I wanted to. Right, if there is a couple of things that I've got sort of picked out for getting put into C++, but nothing too dramatic. like, I'll show you a top candidate for putting into, I think it's in here, and I think it's actually in here, in this animation graph, or at least I can get to it from here. Yeah, see this here, this calculate head rotation. This is just a big series of calculations, right? So this is a very good candidate. Deadshot, the reason I use blueprints is because I've spent 40 years sitting in front of text coding, right? So I just wanted something I could sit and just like draw things, and that's where I use blueprints. Right, but I can move stuff into C++ if I want to. I'm not an expert in C++, so don't think that for a second. It's one language I've never really used. Right, but this is the likes of a very good option for C++. And the reason for that is because it's done all the time, right? And what you've got to actually do, or think of it, right? See, when you're thinking about it, each of these, what you've got to remember is that, does the game use C++? Yes, it does, because Unreal Engine uses C++, and everything's based on C++, so therefore, yeah, of course it uses C++. That's the smart arse answer, right? But I get your point, right, of will I use actual C++ libraries and stuff, right? Now, the way you've got to think of it is each of these nodes is actually a call to C++, right? And it is much quicker to do calculations in C++, right? So if you've got clamping, adding, blah blah, this, that and t'other, then it's actually much faster just to basically transpose this function into C++, which is something I've done in other games, right? So I do have a idea how to do it, and I have done like helper function libraries in C++, plus I've created actual blueprints in C++. But what you got to remember is that even Epic don't say, well, you can't actually create a project in C++, right? You have to use blueprints to a certain degree. And that's the way it's supposed to be, right? It's supposed to be a mixture of blueprints and C++, right? You shouldn't, Deadshot, you shouldn't have anything on tick. The only thing your goal is to basically only have like your controls on tick, right? Otherwise, everything else should be on timers or event driven, right? So yeah, so this would be a top candidate for doing in C++. Unity is not C++, Unity is C#. I did a game for the Xbox 360 in C#, but it wasn't Unity, it was Microsoft's developer kit, which used C++, C Sharp. Right, so we created a new, you've put me off again guys, right, been hit, and this is the hunting interface, right? So what we want to do now is basically go to our monsters and our parasite 1, open it up and go to class settings, right? Then while we're at it, we're going to add EMS and hunting. Okay. We could do this on an event dispatcher. I'm going to have a think about that, whether we want this interface or whether we just want to do an event dispatcher and then have the has shot as an event, right? And just have the animals and the monsters and the animals bind to the has been shot at the start, right? Yeah, I mean, as I said, your basic movement stuff, that has to be on tick, I understand that, but otherwise you try to avoid it at all costs. Right, so now inside our zombie, since we can say, what was it? Has been shot, I believe, and it's going to be an event. It's not wildlife actions. I might need to save this, compile it. What did I call that? Been shot, been hit. I should really just call it hit, eh? Nah, that's not a good idea. Event, been hit. Okay, and we're going to save that, and we're going to go and change this, and this is going to have an input on it, and the input is going to be arrow lit. Okay. So basically we're going to branch on this. And fundamentally, if the arrow is not lit and it hits the monster, they're just basically going to play a montage, which is basically being hit montage, right? Like a little stumble back or whatever. And then if it's true, what we'll be doing is actually making them die, explode and die, right? But that, my friends, is for later tonight. So, if you've enjoyed the content, hit the like and subscribe, it's appreciated. Check out the description for links to my Discord, the game Discord, and my Patreon, where you can support the channel, and my previous game on Steam, where you guys can turn me into a millionaire, and then you can have a millionaire game dev. That would be appreciated as well. So guys, thank you for watching. I shall see you tonight at 8 PM. Thank you for the comments. Always interesting when you guys are talking to me. I shall see you tonight. Bye bye for now.